Didn't watch the match properly.
They didn't. We had plenty of opportunities to win that match, and they should have looked at it with a sober mind. This team always had the potential to win it. There was the doubt always came in when you looked at the other team and the potential that the other teams had shown. And England had shown how great they were. Wales were Six Nations champions. New Zealand were back-to-back World Cup champions. So obviously those were factors to consider, but also we had given New Zealand a tough time in the last 2 years. We had beaten them in New Zealand. We had positive results against them. We had pushed them very close in South Africa. So against them, I wasn't too worried about it. It's the other teams that gave me a couple of sleepless nights. Wales, for example, had beaten us. In the last 4 fixtures against them, we struggled. England had a very smart coach in Eddie Jones, and they were very efficient. And so maybe there might have been a bit of doubt, but still, we had the potential. We had a team that was capable of doing it. It was just a matter of temperament. And again, I think for me, the biggest worry was we brought a team which had not won much. We did not have a Super Rugby winning team like the Bulls in 2007. And that was where the temperament question came into being. But that said, this team came together very nicely. And it's rare to find a group of players who genuinely get along, and these guys seem to get along rather nicely.
I mean, this is almost like the kind of script on a big Hollywood movie.
Yeah.
And you start with each character in their childhood, and they have no idea that their destinies are going to meet one day in the future. And these characters all come together at exactly the right time with the right kind of people, and then a story is born.
Rassie Erasmus was looked over for the job when Alistair was given the post. Mzwandile Stick was fired and was made a scapegoat when Alistair was struggling with the team. Siya Tanda Collis was looked over as captain of this team. So there's a couple, wherever you go in this team, there's just stories to tell. Faf de Klerk was dropped at the Lions at Super Rugby level. Cheslin was told he was too small to play international rugby. Damien was told he couldn't pass. Lucanio Am was told he doesn't have the physique. Magazola Mapimpi wasn't even playing provincial rugby. It's just stories. There are stories littered everywhere. Peter Steph du Toit was told, you're not good enough to be an international lock, so you might not have an international career. Swapped position, and now he's a World Player of the Year. So
incredible.
Everywhere
we'll
you go.
talk about those stories a bit more, because Thabiso Sithole is at Vilakazi Street, I believe. Let's cross to him now, and there must still be quite a buzz there, Thabiso.
Indeed, Peter, thank you very much once again for joining us right at Vilakazi Street. In fact, the buzz has gone up a slight notch, Peter, because the bus was supposed to be here already. It drove past us. It looks like it is going further down. In fact, it starts at Orlando Stadium. I think that's where it's just gone past now. But the moment we thought the bus was coming up here, the street was packed. A lot of people expecting it to be here. But tell you what, Peter, let's turn to a native of Soweto, somebody who's been here, who's seen it all, basically. And our host for today, from next door, the pub and grill that we've been standing by, somebody who's seen it all, so to speak, Sipho Mduli. But Sipho, thank you very much for joining us on SABC News as we wait for SABC, for the Springboks to get here. Now, we were speaking about the importance of this particular street, and let's speak about the importance of the Springbok and that black captain who's leading us to this World Cup.
I think it's quite a historic moment for us, Thabiso, especially that you know what Mandela did for the World Cup in 1995. And for Sia to come here, and pay homage to Mandela, not just Mandela, and obviously we have Bishop Tutu's house down the road, and as you can tell, the vibe here, it's amazing. There's something that this street does for people. It just brings the inner excitement. You can see that everyone is here, all colors, all races, all creeds, and thanks to you guys for affording us the opportunity.
Most importantly as well, we spoke about last time I think we were here broadcasting live on a major event was during the 2010 Soccer World Cup. The buzz was almost the same. Now, I speak of the Rugby World Cup. I know that this particular establishment of yours, you hosted the Rugby World Cup or some of the matches. What has been the reception? Because we know Soweto is a predominantly, footballing township, so to speak. Have people caught on to this rugby?
You know, it was quite amazing for us because we started putting up a big screen when it was the semi-finals, and I mean the reception was amazing because, you know, we have a hybrid of both locals and tourists. So when they saw the screen, the chanting, the singing was amazing on the street. And then what we did for the World Cup, we even put up a bigger screen, you know. So I mean it was so packed that the overflow was even on the street, you know. And it was the party went on until 2-3 in the morning. We had to apologize to our neighbors in the morning, but yeah, the mood is amazing. And even tomorrow we still have an after party. We're continuing.
I think that's the question then, isn't it, about the importance of that captain in Siya Kolisi and the importance of bringing the game to everyone, in particular Black South Africa, who always view this game as the game of the oppressor, the game of apartheid, so to speak. Do we think we are close to close that gap? Do you think our minds have changed, having seen the transition, the transformation of having a black captain at that lifting a World Cup trophy?
You know, Tabiso, without saying much, but you know, like as they say, the longest journey, it's a first step, you know. So I think Siya is on the right path, and it's a process of us embracing also rugby as a national sport, as an inclusive sport. It's not an event. It's a process that we have to walk together as a country, as across all colors. So I think, yeah, we are on the right path, and we hope in 4 years' time, you and I will have the same conversation. I know we'll be grayer by then, but yeah, we're hoping that we'll have the same conversation in 4 years' time.
In Inspire Soweto, we've seen a lot of kids. I know I was asking some of the kids when I was walking in here, their favorite player. A couple of years back, you mentioned something very important this evening. A couple of years back, if you said to a kid, do you know a rugby player? I think none of them would say anything. But now you get the likes of Siya Kolisi, your likes of your beasts, we know they've retired. Is that mindset changing in as far as South Africa? Now let's talk about the broader prospects. I want to bring it back to Soweto per se, because of the history of Soweto, the uprisings, 1976, we've got Hector Peterson Memorial just up the road. This particular township of Soweto was deep in it in as far as transformation. We spoke to Soweto Rugby a short while ago, and they also feel that a lot more can be done and should be done than just a bus of Springboks driving through.
No, again, it can, as I said earlier on, so it can be an event. It needs to be a process, and part of it is to start to make rugby accessible. And accessible means, for me, is it needs to be played at school level. It should not only be about celebrating the Springboks. It should be part of a school curriculum, not just soccer. And most important, like for an ordinary folk from Soweto or from any township, should be able to go and watch the Springboks. If you look now, to take a family of 4 or 5, it's over 2,000 rands. You know, how many people can afford that? So it starts with those little milestones. How many people can afford to go watch the Springboks, especially when they play in South Africa? So it's one of those programs the SA Rugby must start initiating, of making it accessible, not just purely as a celebratory sport. Yeah, so that's where it starts.
Thank you very much indeed for joining us. And next time, well, they won't, hopefully, if they can't make it to the stadium, they'll come and join you here in West
Thank
Rugby.
You very much.
Thank you. Well, let's see our host right here at a pub and grill right here called Next Door. We've been gracious in hosting us, in particular with SABC News, giving us this platform. And again, Peter, the bus is expected to come up the street. We'll see there's police there already. They've cordoned off the street. We expect it to come up any moment now. We know that they're somewhere within Soweto, in a couple of, I think just up the road from where that street joins up. On my right, as I look on that side, that is where Hector Peterson Memorial is, and we're expecting the bus to make a U-turn there as well. So the hive of activity right here in Soweto, as you can see from the wide shots, from all the shots we're bringing you, there's great expectation. A lot of people wanted to see that Siya Kolisi. A lot of people want to see those Springboks. A lot of people, myself as well, Peter, I've got this vantage point. I want to take a close-up of that Webb Ellis Trophy as it is once again back home. Over to you back in studio, Peter.
Tabiso, thanks very much indeed. And you know what? It's been a hot